So I recently came across this video by 50 Plus Beauty. Her thumbnail photo was striking because she states that she recovered from her stroke only a few days later, which is quite amazing. Now, I'm sure that also know people who suffered from strokes, but their recovery was a long process. And for many, the changes in the faces never recovered like this. Now, Beth shares that she knew she was having a stroke as soon as it came upon her. So she called out to her husband for help, and fortunately, he called an ambulance who got there quickly. She said that getting to the hospital as fast as possible was key to quick healing with the life-saving procedure that they give you. Now, check out the video via the link in my YouTube description box to watch the full video when she describes her experience. And she also has on her channel a video that shares some of the signs that would help you recognize a stroke. I want you to take care and stay healthy. Definitely share her video with friends and family members because unfortunately, I believe strokes are pretty common. As many of you know, I took care of my dad for like 2 years. And I think that he might have had a stroke like 2 or 3 times in my care. And even before that, he had an issue because with Alzheimer's, sometimes one of the symptoms is that you get a bleeding on the brain every now and then. And I think it can be a cause of falling as well. And that can cause strokes. Again, you want to call the ambulance or get them to the hospital as quickly as possible. Take care. Sheila Murphy is co-founder and partner of FlexProfessionals, a staffing firm that specializes in part-time, full-time flexible, and project-based work arrangements. Sheila leads the firm's talent engagement, candidate recruiting, and programming efforts. She also oversees the human resources function. Featured on the Today Show, Sheila is a career reentry expert, work flexibility advocate, and seasoned speaker trainer on a variety of job search and career development topics. Sheila, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Sunita. Appreciate it.
And ladies, full disclosure, I used to work with FlexProfessionals for, I think it was 2 years, right? I can't remember.
I think at least 2. I thought it was longer than that.
2 years. So most may know that I used to take care of my dad up until last year for 2 years. And I actually left a full-time job at the beginning of the pandemic, pretty much, and found flexible part-time remote work. And that was through FlexProfessionals. I was the talent coordinator responsible for getting the word out about FlexProfessionals so people can know where they can come to get work. So real quick, Sheila, tell us a little about what is going on in this crazy world of work right now, especially when it relates to women who are over 40 who might be returning to work or looking for a career change, or maybe like me, need to take care of an elderly parent.
Sure. So things have been crazy. It's crazy out there, right? I call it when I give my webinars a wild west of work. And it was crazy during the pandemic and it just has not settled. Honestly, it hasn't settled. So if I could give you maybe 5 of the trends that I think are most impactful to the target audience that we're talking about today, I would say the first one would be there are huge, and all of these factors that I'm going to talk about, they're all completely interconnected. So you can't talk about one without it impacting the other. And the first one is just huge generational shifts in the workplace. So now I think 50% of the workforce are millennials. And by another 5 years, it'll be 75%. So if you are 40, 50, 60, you are going to face the challenge, but also the opportunity to be probably working for or interviewed by someone younger than you. right? So that just knowing that, it's also affecting knowledge management, right? Where lots of people are leaving the workforce in droves that have all this knowledge. And there's a labor shortage because of the numbers of people retiring. So that's the other trend here, is this sort of labor shortage that's only going to get worse because we have so many baby boomers retiring. And at the same time, if you look at the population, 18 years old and younger, it's shrinking. So it presents a lot of opportunities, I think, for workers in their 40s, 50s, in terms of finding jobs. But add in there the two other trends. They're, again, all related. And one of them being this care crisis in this country. The pandemic sort of brought that to light. It's getting worse. And it's getting worse because of the number of baby boomers leaving the workplace. They're living longer. The stats on this are staggering about the number of our share of our population that is aging is increasing, like by 30%. It has increased in the last decade. I mean, you know that just from your own experience, right? So this whole caregiving crisis, we are all going to be caregivers.
Yeah.
So, and it does fall a lot on women. And what that means is that as we try to go back to work or try to find transition, we're often looking for flexibility. And we're hoping that our employers are going to normalize flexibility because everybody's going to need it for caregiving, whether it be for younger children or for aging parents or for both. So those are the big ones going on. Lots of people have retired during the pandemic and now they're unretiring. So that's this is sort of people thinking about transitioning, people thinking, maybe I don't want to retire anymore, or maybe I can't. Maybe the recession has created a situation where I really do need to go back to work. So we're seeing a lot of shifting in that area. And then lastly, and this kind of is sort of what ties this all together, is this tug of war that we're seeing in the workplace around flexibility. So we've got employers that are trying to figure out, how do we make this work for us? Ideally, we want people to come back into the office. And the employee is saying, we've gotten this taste of flexibility and we don't want to give it up. So on the one hand, the businesses are trying to figure out how to operationalize it. On the other hand, job seekers are trying to figure out what it means for them, and knowing that is really important to being able to negotiate, right, what you want in the workplace. So lots of trends, lots of challenges, but I always believe that these trends also bring about opportunities, especially for the 40, 50 plus female who's looking to get back in.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I was wondering. Like, how do you navigate ageism, and is it worse considering all the changes that's happening right now?
That's a great point. That's a great question. I mean, I'm sort of the optimistic, the hopeful. I'm also practical. So my practical side of me would say to people, it's out there. It's definitely out there. I'm not going to say that it's not. Know that, but don't be frustrated by it or discouraged by it. Don't take offense to it, because that's the worst thing that you can do. Sometimes when we are looking for work, we're trying to get back in or trying to make a career change, we get frustrated, and job searching is really isolating. And when you feel like you're getting no's and you're getting dismissed too early in the process, or they're not even looking at you, it's so frustrating, and you kind of carry a little bit of an edge to you and an attitude that doesn't help you in the process. So be aware that it's out there, but I think the flip side is kind of related to what we were just talking about. All of these different trends, there is a labor shortage, There is a demand for talent out there. And so I truly believe that employers, the good ones, the smart ones, the ones you're going to want to work for, those employers are going to figure out that opening their eyes to an intergenerational workplace, to older workers is going to be a good thing in the long run. So I guess in terms of tips, this is such a simple one, but I do think it's really effective. And that is what you project when you're talking to somebody, when you're interviewing, when you're in an interview or networking is critical. So if you project sort of this positivity and optimism, energy, if you smile, if you genuinely express curiosity and an openness to learning new things, to learning about a new job, inquiring about their technology, an openness to new ideas, that does a lot subconsciously to eliminate the tensions there in terms of hiring somebody that might be a little rusty or a little out of date. You're showing through how you project yourself, your body language, the questions that you ask, what you say verbally, that all of a sudden it makes that worry about not being open to new ideas, about kind of being stuck in your ways, about maybe you're going to retire too soon. Those worries go away. So it's very subconscious and psychological, but I really do think that there's a lot of power in just projecting that type of positivity. The other one, I think the other second big tip in that area would be making an effort as part of your job search to brush up on your tech skills, brush up on your Excel, brush up on PowerPoint, on Microsoft Word, those sort of what I call workplace productivity skills, the skills that you need day one when you get back to work. A lot of employers, and sometimes it's just a misperception, believe that older workers don't have good tech skills. And so the more you can show through using jargon, talking about, CRM systems or learning management systems or data sharing systems or collaboration tools, that's going to really help you face or fight that ageism.
Speaking of jargon, how does one these days, because I know a lot of companies are using, I guess, technology bots or whatever they are to read the resumes, and they're eliminating a lot of candidates who don't have those, I guess, keywords. How do you get around that?
Well, I guess there's two answers. My first answer is you do have to target your resume. So it is important that you look at a job posting, take out a highlighter or a pencil and circle every word that's repeated. What words are they repeating? Those are the words I got to incorporate into my bullets on my resume, into my summary at the top of the page, into my key skill areas. Are they using terms that maybe I have on my resume, but I'm using something different? Like maybe I say email marketing and the job posting is talking about digital marketing. So you want to tweak your resume so that the words are mimic the words in the job description or on that company's website, as opposed to the words that you used in that prior job, right? So that's targeting your resume. And I think that goes a long way into sort of getting your resume in the door. But I'm going to tell you something completely different now, which is what in my heart of hearts, I believe. You can target your resume all you want. And if you have a gap in your resume, if you want to change careers, if you have sort of a resume like a lot of us have with peaks and valleys and ups and downs, because let's face it, life is like that.
Yeah.
We think our career path is supposed to go like this, and it doesn't, right? You're going to get weeded out of those online systems. So the best way to fight ageism, the best way to transition, the best way to sort of get back out there is really to talk to people. And if you talk to one person face to face or on Zoom once a week, one new person once a week, you will probably do much better in terms of finding a new job than you would be if you sat behind your computer for 8 hours and just clicked the submit button.
Okay. What do you mean, getting one interview a week? I'm confused.
Not necessarily an interview, but hey, friend of a friend, so-and-so referred me to you. I'd love to learn more about what you do. Like, your work sounds so interesting to me. Would you have 15 minutes? I'll treat you to coffee. So it's low pressure, right? It's not, hey, Sunita, I'm really desperate. I need a job.